Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP NFL. We are back again for Thursday Night Football. This time, the Green Bay Packers on a short week are going to be hosting the Washington Commanders. Both teams winless. Two teams enter. One team leaves with a loss. At least we think. I guess you still could have a tie. But whatever. That's not nearly as good of a catchphrase. So we're going to talk about our favorite bets here for the game, our favorite props, and of course, stay tuned to the end of the show for the SG Joey P, because I'm on fire right now. That's right. Thursday Night Football, check. Sunday Night Football, check. Will I hit 2 in a row the rest of the year? Who knows? You just have to tune in to find out. We're going to do touchdown calls too. Scott Bogman, you have gotten off to an interesting start here. You are so close. You could easily be over 500 right now. I want to give you some credit because although on the year, on the standalone football shows for Thursday night and Sunday night, the record is 3-7. It could easily be 6-4. The Pickens PI, very tough. You missed the Henry and the Cook props here last week by literally 1. So the process was very good. But then again, that's kind of loser talk, isn't it?
I mean, I'm process over results, but every loser that's ever lost has said process over results. So look, we're trying to get better here, right? 3-7 is not great to start the season, but like you said, I mean,
so close.
Pickens had that long, easy if he doesn't get pass interfered. By the way, it was one Derrick Henry carry too many, was it not? I should have been right.
It was.
And
you know what? The Ravens would agree. Just one carry too many, and that ball gets popped out.
That's right. So I was technically right about that when I was correct. But James Cook missed it they just got down too quick. Like, he was running well, and he had that one big play, but that was a catch. Like, they just got down too fast, and he didn't have enough run attempts. So, I mean, look, that game didn't go like I thought it was going to go at all, really. I thought it was going to be much tighter. I didn't see, the Bills getting down big and then playing one of the best comebacks in NFL history. It was awesome to watch. It was so much fun. But,
yeah,
that's where we are.
It was a fun game. It was an entertaining game.
We're going to get better.
Sure.
We're going to get better.
We are.
It was week 1.
It was week 1. You shake it off. And look, sometimes you're going to carry the team. Sometimes I'm going to carry the team. This is why we're a team, Boggs.
That's right.
This is what we're doing. I'm sure you'll carry me this week.
You're Greg
carrying if you want
to.
That's right. Speaking of carrying away things, how about carrying away this Alvin Kamara signed helmet right now? Again, from our good friends at pristineauction.com. All you have to do is go to bettingpros.com/contest, complete the form, and either download the Betting Pros app, leave a review of the Betting Pros podcast, or subscribe to our social media channels at Betting Pros on X, on TikTok, and Betting Pros NFL on the IG. The more actions you complete, the more entries you will receive. So do all those things and give yourself a shot to win the Alvin Kamara signed helmet. We'll be announcing the winner right here on the channel. So subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube. Ring the bell till it goes ding so we can let you know if you are the winner. And of course, you can comment on the stream too with your favorite bets for Thursday night. All right, let's get after the game. Let's talk about it here. Again, Green Bay, Washington, both undefeated after week 1. Right now on the Betting Pros consensus line, you're getting 3.5 everywhere in this game. Plus side for Washington, minus 3.5 on Hard Rock Bet, our sponsor of the show. Over under somewhere in the range of the over 47.5, the under 48.5. So very tight there. And then Washington on the money line, plus 168. So, Boggs, I'll let you take this one first. Again, I have more interest in the individuals in this game than the actual game itself. I think these lines are pretty good.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Commanders-Packers?
I'm with you. I don't know that this is going to be my favorite game to bet this week. I already got a ticket on the under in the San Francisco-New Orleans game before Purdy was out. So that's my favorite line of the week, actually. But this one, I'm probably a stay away. If I'm going to pick anything, I would take the under. Injuries to the Packers offensive line, short week, all that stuff. So I would take the under. I think the Packers are going to win, so I'd lean towards them. But it's too early in the season. It's on short rest. It's a weird game. We didn't see tons of offense from Green Bay. The defense looked impeccable, though. So with their defense looking good, I think I would take the under in this game.
All right. For me, I'm not going really, really real to this. I'm just keeping it real, folks. The best line you can get here, I think, is the money line on Green Bay. Short week, minus 167. I'm seeing that's the best spot on Betting Pros you can find. And I think Green Bay finds a way to win this with defense. I do. I think Washington, had a good, easy opener there against the Giants offensive line that's frankly terrible. And Thomas was out. And I think that offense is pretty good. But the Cinderella story of the Washington Commanders just going everywhere and winning on the road last year, I think one of those things has to kind of regress a little bit. And I think it starts here on a short week early in the season where I'm just going to favor the home team. They're pretty heavily favored there, but not too much where it's absurd. But again, I think the best bet is to take that money line and then pair it with some other things. And we're going to do that later in the show. So we're going to go ahead and continue on here. Before we do, again, we're extremely excited this year to have Hard Rock Bet as our official sponsor of the program. So if you haven't already, head over to Hard Rock Bets. Hard Rock Bet is legal right now in the state of Florida, the only legal sportsbook there. It's also available in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado. I've been everywhere, man. Let me tell you, Hard Rock Bet's online casino is also available in New Jersey. So again, the Hard Rock hotels and casinos, you know the high quality there. They're bringing the same thing to the sportsbook world. So as we gear up for NFL season right now, sign up at Hard Rock Bet, make that $5 bet, and you'll get 150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Right now on Hard Rock Bet, sign up today and make your first deposit. Okay, Boggs, let's take a look here a little bit at the deeper end here of the game, and let's talk about the Deebo Samuel props here. Now, I am on the receiving stuff. I'm going to talk more about that later in the show, but you are on the rushing yards. He had 1 carry for 19 yards last week. So let's talk about this number, 4.5 rushing yards, and it's minus 135 on the rock.
Yeah, I mean, look, minus 135 is not a great number, but I think this is something you compare with something else. Yeah. Or you could just, maybe 2 units instead of 1, because I really like this one. The run game worked really well for the Commanders in week 1, I believe. PFF, they graded out number 1 in run blocking, which is really good against a very strong defensive line in the Giants. Like, the Giants don't have a great team, but that D-line is rocked up. Sexy Dexy in the middle, Brian Burns, Thibodeau. They spent their first-round pick on Abdul Carter. That's a really, really good defensive line. So to run so well against them. And I think Deebo is part of this run plan, right? They got rid of Brian Robinson, and so who is their main guy right now? It's Bill, or it's Ekeler, who has a shoulder issue. McNichols, maybe C-Rod gets a helmet in this game. I don't know. I think for this game, I think we're going to see Deebo take more than 1 carry. I think it's probably going to be a couple, and 4.5 rushing yards is on the low end. The dude also makes people miss. So all we need is 1 carry to get this, in my opinion. So I think he gets at least a couple.
I really like the wrinkle that a healthy Deebo Samuel brings to the Washington Commanders offense. Being able to use those jet sweeps, being able to line them up in the backfield to catch footballs too. It makes them tougher to defend. It makes them multidimensional, I think, more so than they were last year too. And that's a lot too, because you have to deal with a quarterback who can rush as well. So that makes them a tough defensive night at the offense. But I do think Green Bay is up for the task, as you alluded earlier. Good Green Bay defense, especially week 1 against the Lions. Let's talk about Tucker Kraft. The number for receptions for him, 3.5. If you take the over, you get plus 130 on the Hard Rock. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like this one. And it's hard to kind of pick a receiving prop for the Packers, right? Because the wide receivers rotate in and out. They're switched. We've heard LaFleur talk about how he think it's disgusting to have a number 1 wide receiver. They all do different things, right? So you never know who is going to be. I mean, Jaden Reed had a great game last week. Do you know how many snaps he had, Joe?
6.
18. He had 18 snaps.
I know he caught the touchdown, and I had him in the one fantasy league where I was just desperate for a flex play, and I was like, well, Jaden Reed, I hope you do what you do. Catch touchdowns. And he did.
But one guy got 100% of the snaps. It was Tucker Kraft. He's on the field.
It's true.
He also got their end zone target and scored a touchdown. Luvu was targeted 5 times in Washington's game against the Giants. He gave up 4 receptions, and they weren't giving up many receptions. Bellinger dropped one. I also saw one clank off of Theo Johnson's frying pan hands. I just think that they blitz Luvu a lot too. He's one of the higher percentage blitzing linebackers in the league. That's right where Tucker Kraft plays. So when you see Luvu blitz, I think it's going to just be, all right, well, let's just hit Tucker right over the top, right? So I think Tucker Kraft's going to have more receptions than this. We know he's going to be on the field. Wagner has been slipping in coverage grade over the last couple of years as well. I'm all about Tucker Kraft this week. I think he's going to have a big week.
Okay, so Tucker Kraft in check. I like him for touchdown props too. You could throw some at him. We can give you some numbers on that later in the show. Josh Jacobs, 12.5 receiving yards. A good start, I think, for Josh Jacobs last week and carrying over a lot of the success of 2024. So do you think you want to go for the rushing Or you want to stick with his 12.5 receiving yards and you want to go over or under?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've whiffed on the rushing stuff recently, right? Like the carries look
well,
low.
I mean, whiff is like, I feel like you fouled it off into the catcher's glove.
Still an out.
I don't think it's still an out. It's still an out, but you made contact, you were on the ball. So it wasn't like, you were swinging at balls in the dirt.
That's true.
Let's be fair.
And I have a better reasoning than I missed on my last two, right? My reasoning is actually this, is that Aaron Banks, questionable. Zach Tom, questionable to play in this game. So even if they do play, they're at less than 100%. And, the Commanders don't have the best line in the world, but you get any line going up against backups, and they're going to put pressure on the quarterback. And now Jordan Love is very good at getting the ball out and not taking a sack. So, in fact, I was desperately trying to seek a sack prop because of these offensive linemen being hurt, and I just couldn't get to one that I like for Washington. So I thought, okay, how about short dump-off passes? Well, those go to Tucker, and they go to Josh Jacobs. So if we have two banged-up O-linemen, I think we're going to see Washington blitz a little bit to try to mix this up and hurt the run game. I think you're going to see some dump-offs to Josh Jacobs and, hit him in the flat 2 or 3 times. I think 12.5 yards is easily attainable for him.
By the way, Tucker Kraft, 2-1 for the touchdown. Just saying, if he's on the field a lot, might be another one to
Might
look
hear about
after.
that a little bit later, Joey.
Oh, spoilers. All right, no spoilers, no more. Let's talk about Austin Ekeler receiving yards. The number is set at 20.5 at -110. Over or under, Boggs, for Ekeler?
I'll be an undertaker on this one. And look, Ekeler could easily surpass this number, but he's come in with a shoulder issue on a short week, right? So he's talked about how he doesn't want to have a full-time workload. They got rid of Brian Robinson knowing that. This is the reason why I'm on the Deebo upside as well in the run game. And there were some props with Bill, but I feel like people are so willing to bet on Bill that those numbers are inflated a little bit. Everybody wants him to be their secret sleeper that they got and, be the next Arian Foster and all of that. Maybe he's that guy. But
I mean, look, you're getting at some spots. I'm looking over here, 37.5 on the rushing for JCM. I don't think that's absurd.
It's not crazy, but the Packers defense is really good.
Packers defense good, and that backfield, like you said, maybe Rodriguez suits up. Like we're still waiting. Again, we record this on Wednesday. We're trying to get ahead here for everybody. So make those adjustments if you see more guys inactive, or if another injury report comes out later.
This one might have to
tells you something about Ekeler.
This one might have to get scrapped because Ekeler doesn't play, right? Like because he has a shoulder issue.
If the pivot is to something with, let's say Ekeler gets scratched because it's a short week. Let's live in a hypothetical right now. We'll give you another out here. And let's say that number on Krosky Merrick goes from 37.5 to 41.5 rushing yards. Would you take the over?
Probably not still. No.
Okay.
A short week for a rookie. It's just weird. I just don't want to bet on a rookie.
That's fair.
In this game.
That's fair.
So,
but I like to give those hypotheticals because I think we find ourselves in those situations a lot of times.
It's a good point, but I think the shoulder issue, the short week, I think they're going to involve Deebo a little bit more as well. And Green Bay's defense is really good. So all of that is going to make me hit under on Austin Ekeler. And look, Joey, I do have a defensive prop in there for you.
And that's what was lacking last week a little bit. The Scott Bogman I know, boys and girls, for many, many years now, decades even. We're getting close to decades, plural. There's always defensive props there. There's something we like on the defensive side. In week 1, there's no defense to be seen. Now, granted, there was very little defense to be seen in Sunday Night Football, so that's fair. But of course, there will be defense today, Scott Bogman. So let's talk about your favorite defensive prop where you're going for it.
Let's go with Sean Gary over half a sack. It's plus 135 on Hard Rock right now, and Jane Daniels is elusive, right? And he can break away. I was debating between this one and I believe his longest rush was 15.5 yards. Kind of like that one as well. Decided to go with the sack here, though, because, look, he took 47 sacks last year. He was a rookie, right? I understand. But he also was, I believe he was 6th in pressure to sack rate. It's not good. That's bottom 10. And 7th in longest time to throw. So he holds on to the ball a little bit too long. I just think Green Bay is going to get great pressure. And sure, I want to go Micah Parsons, but there's two things with Micah Parsons. Short week, he has this back issue already. So yeah, not my favorite. And it's juiced to hell. It's not good. It's not a good bet. So Sean Gary had a sack last week. He's healthier. Plays on I believe he plays on the other side of Trent Williams as well. So, yeah, let's go with Rashan Gary over half a sack for plus money. I like it.
And remember, if you need more help with your prop bets, let the Betting Pros app help you. Download the Betting Pros app and look for the prop bet cheat sheet. We use it all the time, every single day, every single week when we're putting together our bets here on the NFL channel. So make sure you're doing that as well. Don't be a tool. Use the tools. Go to bettingpros.com/props. And again, it's got everything: passing, rushing, receiving, stat categories, and it shows you the best lines along with the fantasy projections, and it shows you where the variance is so you can make the best prop bets anywhere on the planet. So if you were following last week, we talked about Bucky Irving unders on the other show. We talked all kinds of things on the prop show. So make sure you're with us for all of this and use the prop bet cheat sheet on your own too. It's fun. It's a good time. All right, let's talk a little SGP, or should I say SGJOEP, because we're renaming the segment after week one. Week one is the worst, Scott Bogman. It really is.
I don't like it.
Always crazy.
I like the
What
result.
did I say to you last week?
Steelers won.
I said, let's just bet what we know, bet what we understand. We understand Jalen Hurts. We understand Derrick Henry. That's what we did last week. We didn't go crazy all over the place in week one. I practiced discipline. I preached discipline. And today I'm going to be a little less disciplined. Just a little bit. Just a little. Not a lot, just a little bit. So here's the thought process. I said earlier that I do like the Green Bay Packers on the money line. You get minus 184 in some spots here, minus 164 in some others. It depends on where you're looking for it. So here you go. If you take the money line and you take two things which I think are going to be pretty strong. The first is Deebo Samuel over 51.5 receiving yards at minus 114. He had 10 targets last week. He got 7 for 77. He's very highly involved in the offense. I think 51 is a very reasonable number for him to go over, even considering, whatever you think of how good that Packer defense is. There you go. Now, the other thing that I like too is the Zach Ertz anytime touchdown scorer, which you're getting at plus 270. Now that's a big number, Boggs. But if you look at what happened last week, the one thing that really did kind of stick out to me in that Packers-Lions game was Sam Laporta getting 6 catches for 79 and just being a problem there. And when you get into the red zone with this team here of the Washington Commanders, you got to worry about Corey Krosky-Merritt now, but you definitely have to worry about Deebo Samuel too. And of course, you're always worrying about Jaden Daniels. You can't guard everybody. And to me, Zach Ertz is that one guy that can kind of slip underneath there. Easy red zone, easy goal line target there. You saw it last week. I just think that's what Jaden Daniels likes to do because, again, he's the open guy down there. You can't defend everybody. So here's the thing. If you take that anytime touchdown from Zach Ertz, put it with Deebo Samuel for the over and receiving yards at 51.5, along with the Packers on the money line, you can get this one all the way up to plus 900. Now, look, you can keep this and slice it a little bit too. You could take the money line with the touchdown score, the money line with Deebo, and you're going to get like 2 or 3 to 1. That's also fine too. If you're not in for the third leg of the parlay that, again, when you add more variance, you add more failure. But Boggs, what do you think? 9 to 1. That seems like a pretty good odds there. And I don't think these things are far-fetched.
9 to 1 is crazy. I mean, that's a, that's a wing and a prayer bet for the most
it is.
point. But I really like the first two parts of this. So to me, I take the first two parts of this, Green Bay on the money line and the Deebo over, and find something else you like. Find one other thing you like, and then maybe that's a little bit more safer than a touchdown. That's all. So,
well, you're getting just about, like I said, you'll get 2 to 1 on that one if you do it.
Yeah, 2 to 1. But if you add something else in that you feel is a little bit safer,
or one of Boggs picks that you think is very simple too, there's a lot of ways to do this. The other one is if you take Green Bay on the money line and the touchdown of Zach Ertz, that gets you to 4.5 to 1. So again, you're basically, you can go to 2 to 1. You're going to go over 4 to 1. Either way, if you want to get crazy and throw in, again, just the money line. We're not talking about points.
Right.
We're not just like who's going to win. It's week 2. Teams got to travel. And let's not forget too, like LaFleur and Quinn have a history, right? LaFleur worked for Dan Quinn. There's a familiarity there between these coaches and the styles of what they want to do. That's why I think that under that you're talking about is kind of interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
But that is my approach with the parlay. Let's see if it works out. If I go 3-0, I'm just going to retire. I'm just going to retire. I'm going to get a house.
It's all downhill from here. So
it's all downhill from there. All right, let's talk touchdowns here, Scott Bogman, because that's always a fun time. And of course, don't forget, we have tools for that too. But going back to parlays real quick, just a reminder, the same game parlay tool is also in the Betting Pros app. So if you haven't used it yet, you should, because What we're talking about is the correlations. Like if you see the game going a certain way, or if you like Bogman's got, certain props that he likes, well, what correlates with those props? If you like a quarterback to have a big night, well, which receiver is going to go with him? The correlation stuff really helps. So use the SGP tool on the BettingPros app. There you go. Shameless promotion. All right, let's get to the touchdown calls, Boggs. What do you have?
Got the first one. Mark Andrews had one catch in the Sunday night game. Completely wrong about that. They just got up too big, too fast. So this one, I think, let's just go back to Tucker Kraft. Plus 220 right here. Had an end zone target and a score last weekend. We talked about how bad these linebackers have been in coverage. And the one dude that's on the field constantly outside of him and Jacobson, the offensive line of love. The wide receivers are banged up and switching around too much. Don't really trust too many scores for Washington with this Green Bay defense. So Tucker Kraft it is for me at doubling up your money. A little better than that, plus 220.
All right, I'm sticking with what I started with last Thursday, and I carried over to Sunday night. So we did the guys who are most likely to score touchdowns and who are in the minus money. So instead, what we do is we chop off the second half of the game, and we take the first half of the game, and we flip that minus money to plus. I'm going to do it a third straight game. This time I'm going to do it with Josh Jacobs because I am 2-0 calling touchdowns, and I want to keep this train rolling. That's what I want to do. So give me 2 for 2. I want to go 3 for 3. Josh Jacobs plus 120 anytime touchdown, first half of the game. I want them to come out early, assert their dominance with the run. As you said, a lot of receivers are hurt. You don't have a lot of options. I think Josh Jacobs is a very safe bet there. So I like the way Jordan Love looked. He looked healthy again. That's a good thing. And again, short week. I just think that Green Bay is going to find a way to come out victorious in this game. Boggs, any other things to add for Thursday Night Football before we call it a day here?
No, I think that's everything for me. It's going to be a good one. I like that we have some good games here. We're not like immediately getting Cleveland versus Miami or anything on Thursday Night Football. So I haven't
looked at the whole Thursday night slate.
I think next week might be good too, if I'm not mistaken.
I feel like at some point we're going to be like on a string of those kind of games though, because that's every year Thursday Night Football.
Then you have to bet to make them fun. It's Buffalo Miami next week, so a little lopsided.
Well, that could be fun depending on your point of view.
Yeah, if you're a Bills fan, it's real fun.
Ooh man, what's the spread for that game? Let's say the Dolphins lose to the Patriots, which I don't think they're going to, but let's see that happens. What do you think? 13.5?
It's in Buffalo too. I think 13.5. My first thought was over 2 touchdowns, so 14.5 was my initial thought. I think it opens in that neighborhood.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Well, luckily we're gonna be in your neighborhood, and as Bogman said, boring games can only be made entertaining with a little wagering, with a little action, and we're here to help you do that. So great stuff as always from Scott Bogman. Don't forget to download the BettingPros app today. Bet smarter, not harder. And of course, make sure you build all of those parlays and place all of those bets at our sponsor, Hard Rock Bets. Bet $5, get 150 in bonus bets when you do. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Scott Bogman, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.